Good morning. It is May 10th, 2018. Um, Today, I'm looking at this Breitbart article. CNN poll: Blue Wave virtually disappears as Democrat generic congressional ballot dwindles to 3 points. CNN released a poll on Wednesday with results that shocked its own pundits. The much vaunted blue wave hoped for by Democrats in the coming midterm elections has virtually disappeared. Okay. And as we remember, back in 2016 and throughout the general election between President, then candidate Trump and candidate Hillary Clinton, that coming into the home stretch and up into election day, they had Hillary at 15 points and above that. Some polls had her at 25 and 30 over Trump, and using those numbers, it was a shoo-in, and that was what was being broadcast right up until they finally gave in and admitted at whatever time in the early morning the following day that Trump had won. The thing is, they oversampled Democrats and independents to come to the numbers they wanted to come to. And the closer or the more ahead that Trump was, the more they oversampled Democrats and independents. And they would come out with those ridiculous numbers. And it's a psychological ploy. It's supposed to get those of us who are voting for the allegedly losing candidate in the polls to say, what's the sense? She's so far ahead that, why bother going to the poll? And that's what it is. Okay. And they've, even though it was talked about, even though they lost as badly as they lost, and they were able to spin the narrative of the popular vote, even though that was proven massive fraud across the board, that Hillary stole a number of states, big states, including California, which was able to give her the popular vote, the appearance that if we were a straight democracy, which we are not, that, Hillary would have won. Thing is that, they're my thoughts. They're still doing that. They're still padding the numbers, and they're padding them big time. So we're talking that, like in the president's numbers, the president is actually probably up close to 80% to the positive. from what they're actually reporting. Um, and on these generic numbers for the 2018 congressional races, that they've been consistently saying that the Dems there's going to be a blue wave and the Dems are so far ahead, and now that those numbers are coming down, and that's because of President Trump and how successful he's been and all the good that he has done despite the negative coverage. That's the reality. Um, Out in our land, in our land where the real people are, not in the bubble, the DC bubble, the media bubble, out in a reality. And now they say that it's a 3-point advantage for the Democrats, and so that would put, if you're starting at 15, that would put the GOP ahead at least 12. So they're probably going anywhere from 12 to 20, 25% ahead in reality. And that's just now. Unfortunately, despite all the evidence of fraud in the 2016 presidential election and in races across the country, and most notably the Alabama Senate race, where you had people who appeared to be possibly illegals bragging that they had been bussed across the country to vote in Alabama, and they proved massive fraud in that race, and Roy Moore is pursuing that. Thing is, Doug Jones sits in the Senate. They know what happened. The state attorney general knew what happened before she certified Doug Jones, and she rushed to sit him before any of the evidence could come in. And it's all a big game, and it's been run for years. They really got it into high gear in 2008 against Hillary and against John McCain. But McCain was a willing participant. He knew what the game was. He played it. Hillary had to be given an incentive to shut her mouth on what happened in the 2008 Democratic primary, and she was promised the presidency in 2018, and they had all the fraud. They had it perfected at that point. What they didn't count on was we the people. We came out in such huge real numbers that they couldn't overcome the electoral votes. And that's why you see states like Connecticut changing their law and saying that they're going to, from now on, instead of giving it to the state winner, they're going to give it to the national popular vote winner. And that's how they're going to overcome. It's even more fraud, unconstitutional fraud. But the numbers are in our favor. Unfortunately, the fraud goes on, and nobody pays for it. Those who win, are proven to win by fraud, are still sitting in Congress and the Senate. Okay, Barack Obama won 2 times on massive fraud. Both sides of the aisle are playing the game. And those who are really not willing, they have they have stuff on them and they keep them in check. But silence silence in the face of treason is treason. Okay, even if you're trying to save your own ass from people finding out things about you that you don't want them to find out about. So you're still on the wrong side of the law, no matter why you're doing it. Um, Bottom line is, the numbers are in our favor, massively in our favor. And if we come out in the numbers like we did for President Trump in November, and at the primaries are important because we need to get the deep state people out. So when there's a constitutional opponent that's up against them in the primary, it's important that we get them across the line and to November. Um, as many as we can, anyways. I know it's hard because they cheat too. They do it. They just it's just that the Democrats do it right in your face and they get away with it, and everybody ignores what the GOP, the rhinos, do. So get out for the primaries, and when November rolls around, we remember this is about 2020. This is about if they manage to get the fraud in their favor and win enough races and get Congress, they're going to move to impeach the president. They've proven they don't need evidence. The evidence is against everything that they've said. And it shows that the real perpetrators are the people who are claiming that Trump is a traitor to his country. Um, they are the traitors. They're the ones that conspired with foreign governments and foreign entities to undermine our Constitution and to destroy the Republic. And we know this, but they still run the game. And the way we beat that is by getting out and voting in massive, massive numbers, historic numbers. Okay, so remember that uh, as we go on.